Welcome to your daily dose of theological German. We are on installment number 2 of a new work that we've just started looking at, a chunk of text from this book on the tradition history of Proverbs 2 and the composition of Proverbs 1 to 9. And the title of the book here, of course, is Tora Hermeneutics, or Hermeneutics of the Torah. So I've decided to do something a little bit new here to help us as we work through long sections of text like we have been doing. And that is, I'm going to sometimes include previous sentences for context. And so I actually have yesterday's sentence on here as well, which we're not going to translate, but we might need to refer to it in today's sentence. So today's sentence is the one in black. And this sentence actually has 2 clauses, and so I also like to deal with it 1 clause at a time. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the first clause. Before we start translating, I just want to deal with this one adjective. You have here this expression beschäftige, and this actually, if you break it down, just take off that adjectival sort of morphology in the end, and you end up with bescher. And this word is typically an adverb, which means like the English word hitherto, or up to now, or something like that. And so to use it as an adjective here with reference to work is basically to say previous, but up to the present. So it's not just the word previous. There are other words in German you could use if you wanted to talk about something that was previous. This is previous, but up to the present. And so it's a word that really refers to kind of the scholarship that is current and what has so far been said or done on a topic, etc. So we want to just make sure we're getting the right nuance from our adjectives when we're thinking about them. However, we may end up still translating it as previous, but it is slightly more nuanced than that. In any case, the first word in this sentence, sie, is going to be translated it. It's a pronoun. You should not say she, because even though it is feminine, it refers to this feminine noun in the previous sentence. The Fragestellung, the threefold formulation of the question, the formulated question. And so that's what it's picking up with that pronoun. So it. And you want to just get your verb, which is in second position after the subject, it, and you want to make sure you pick up this piece at the end. Always check the end of your clause, because if you were to look up greifen by itself as a dictionary, you would find this entry. This is from Collins Dictionary Online. And so you might say, wow, to take hold of, to stop or to hold down, to catch, right? To seize, yes. We are going to seize the previous work, are we? Well, the problem is, if you actually look up aufgreifen, you get a slightly different nuance. So it's not totally off the map. However, it's not quite the violent seeming idea of catching or seizing or holding down. It's more like picking up, apprehending, or taking up, giving credit to and using within your own work the work of previous scholarship. And so it's important to catch that and to make sure you're looking up the right verb in the dictionary. So let's put that back into our sentence then. It, that is the threefold formulation of the question that we're about to get, it takes up the work up to the present, the previous and existing work on Proverbs 2 and interbiblical exegesis. And then here you have a very similar situation where you've got this verb with a separable component at the end of the clause. And so if you just look up the first part, führen, in the dictionary, you're going to find that it means something like to lead. But hinaus is going to modify and give it the nuance, with hin being a kind of a directional modifier and aus meaning, out or out of. And so it leads from wherever it was to somewhere else out of where it had been. You're probably not going to try to translate all of that into the verb itself. You also have this other preposition here, which is going to give you the more fuller sense. And so there's kind of a lot elided from this clause because it's picking up from the previous one. And so the subject of your verb is still going to be sie, still going to be the pronoun from the beginning. This last piece here is a discourse marker. It's contrastive. You're going to translate that as something like however. So basically this secondary clause is just going to say however. You can pick up the subject from before. However, it goes beyond it. So let's just go ahead and put that all together. It, the threefold formulation of the question, it takes up previous and existing work on Proverbs 2 and interbiblical exegesis, but it goes beyond it. And I suppose the last thing I should mention is, if you're wondering where I'm getting the extra it from here for the kind of object of the verb, this da compound on the preposition here is, think about it as similar to the English word there. And so if über means something like over or beyond, you could say, and it goes there beyond or there over. And so you kind of get the sense, I mean, we wouldn't say that in English, but you do get the sense. And so in English, we typically just switch it around and use a pronoun to go with a preposition like that. But that's basically what's going on there. So hopefully that's clear.